At the Quaker State Northstar Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway, there's lots of action going on, and there's lots of action on Gull Lake, too, as evidenced by this boatload enjoying a beautiful sunshiny afternoon. At the racetrack, the thunder of the nitro-burning top-fuel dragsters resounds over the countryside as Dan Pastorini set to do his burnout. In the midst of his second full season of championship drag racing, the former NFL quarterback Dan Pastorini drives the Coors Light Silver Bullet. He defeated Larry Minor in the first round of competition. He is racing against Gene Snow of Fort Worth, Texas at the wheel of the Snow Oil Company car, and you saw him beat Joe Amato in the first round. Pastorini has adapted very well to the sport of championship drag racing, but he's given away a lot of years of experience here on the starting line to Snow. Snow's career dates back into the early 60s. He's got multiple national event wins to his credit, both in Top Fuel and in Funny Car. Both drivers staging very carefully. They don't want a red light. They don't want to leave too soon. And it's a good start. The blower belt comes off of Gene Snow's car, and Pastorini through the finish line at a 5:58, but the smoke coming out of it indicates he may have hurt the motor. You can see a trail of oil coming out the back of the engine on Dan Pastorini's car. This is Eddie Hill from Wichita Falls, Texas, behind that transparent canopy that covers the full cockpit on Hill's car. The canopy serves basically two purposes. One, it provides some very important aerodynamic streamlining, and secondly, it helps protect the driver from the buffeting that goes on at over 270 miles an hour. This is Dick LaHaye, one of the hottest drivers on the circuit today. Steve?
Well, normally you're pretty happy when you get a win light in this kind of competition, but if you're Dan Pastorini, all that oil on the motor tempers that excitement because you know there's an awful lot of work to do and something's wrong inside. Dan, you won it, but boy, the crew's got work to do.
Yes, it was costly, that's for sure. We hung the rods out of it, and it just, we got one more bullet left, so we'll figure out something. We'll just pull this one out and try some of that new stuff and hope it works.
Yeah, I hope it does for you. We'll be by his pit. You can be rest assured there'll be an engine change there.
Steve, the Pastorini crew, headed by Jim Brissett, will be hard at work in just a very few moments changing that engine. Dick LaHaye from Lansing, Michigan, driving the Miller American Racing Special, defeated Glenn Micros in the first round with that fine 5:22. He is racing against the Texan Eddie Hill, who beat Richard Holcomb. An independent racer, Hill dates back to the earliest days of Top Fuel racing. He laid out for over a decade going drag boat racing, but a couple of seasons ago came back to the asphalt sport and has been in the thick of the chase ever since. LaHaye in the near lane, Hill in the far lane. A good close race, and something goes wrong with Hill. LaHaye bolts across the finish line with a brilliant 5:23 at only 267 miles an hour. That advances LaHaye into the semifinals. This is Darrell Gwynn. Gwynn out of Miami, Florida, one of the young stars of this sport, finished number 2 in the world last season to the reigning world champ Don Garlits. Gwynn is racing against Mike Brotherton of Tulsa, Oklahoma, another relatively new racer to the sport of Top Fuel competition. Brotherton debuting his car about a year ago. Steve's at the far end of the track with Dick LaHaye.
Well, this man's day just gets better and better. He has top speed, low ET of the event, and another 5:23 takes you to the finals. Or semifinals, let's put it that way.
Hey, we'll take it. It spun the tires pretty hard out there. We thought Larry come around and he said, you know, there's a possibility you could hit the national record here and pick up another 200 points. And I thought, well, you know, let's just see what it'll do. And it's running very consistent. I think we better stay with that right there, Steve.
Like Eddie Hill, Mike Brotherton is an independent racer in this highly competitive and expensive form of motorsport. He beat John Kerry in the first round. Darrell Gwynn, driving the Budweiser Quaker State Special, as we saw, defeated Don Garlits in round number 1. Gwynn ended last season with the honor of being the quickest driver in the history of drag racing. Well, progress continues, and that has now been surpassed. Dick LaHaye holds the honor at the moment. Gwynn has had some problems early this season and has been trying a number of different combinations. Gwynn in the near lane, Brotherton in the far lane. A big advantage for Darrell off the starting line. And at the finish, he's got a big win. Darrell with an elapsed time of 5.35 seconds. His speed, 266 miles an hour. This sets up our semifinal pairings. Darrell Gwynn against Shirley Muldowney, and by virtue of a quicker elapsed time in that round, Gwynn has the lane choice. Dick LaHaye will be going against Dan Pastorini. LaHaye having the lane choice in that pair. On the starting line, the factory hot rods, Pro Stock Eliminator doing their burnout. This is the first time we've had a chance to see this car, the brand new Chevrolet Beretta out of the Levi Garrett sponsorship, driven by Bruce Allen. Allen defeated Don Kuntz in the first round. He's racing here against Tony Christian at the wheel of the Volante and Earl Pontiac Firebird. These Pro Stock drivers give the Christmas tree a workout. Remember, you can beat yourself on the starting line if you leave before the green light comes on. You leave too soon, you get the red light indicating disqualification. A good start for both Christian and Allen. And the Beretta to another round win, 7.53 seconds. His speed, 183 miles an hour. As we take a second look, you can see the advantage off the starting line went to Tony Christian. But very quickly, the Chevy Beretta out of the Rare and Morrison team from Arlington, Texas, began to make its power and started the march for the finish line. The racing distance on a championship drag racing track is only 1,320 feet, and it can go by very quickly. For Bruce Allen, the finish line came up as he was more than a car length ahead. Back at the starting line, our next pair getting ready to go. The Pontiac Firebird out of Indianapolis, Indiana, independent racer Steve Schmidt defeated Joe Lapone in the Chevy Beretta in the first round, while his competition, Warren Johnson, drove his Mr. Goodranch Oldsmobile Forenza to a victory over Gary Brown. Both cars set. And a red light for Steve Schmidt. He tried too hard and anticipated the green light. He left way too soon, and the win automatically going to Warren Johnson. His elapsed time, 7.58 seconds. That Oldsmobile ran 183 miles an hour. One of the most popular racers of all time, Shirley Muldowney has a special treat for Holly, her own autographed t-shirt. The crew is working on Shirley's car. We'll be coming right back to Brainerd International Raceway with more Pro Stock racing at the Quaker State Northstar. At the Quaker State Northstar Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway, we're in round number 2 of Pro Stock racing. Here is Jerry Ekman. He won his first ever NHRA national event title earlier this season when he won the Summer Nationals crown. He is racing against Nick Nicholas. It is a Pontiac against a Chevrolet. Both of these drivers are independent racers. Nick Nicholas hails from Jackson Heights, New York. He defeated Larry Morgan in the first round of racing. Jerry Ekman comes from Ventura, California. He defeated Lee Dean in his first round matchup. Ekman and his partner Bill Orndorff have qualified very well at many events thus far this season, indicating to the racing world they are certainly a force to be reckoned with in Pro Stock. Both drivers taking their time about staging, a bit of a psychological battle going on. You hear lots of RPM, starter buster counts waving Nick Nicholas into the beams, and it pays off for Nicholas with a hole shot. He got the advantage off the starting line. Ekman tries to come back. He cannot do it. Nicholas with the upset. 7.67 seconds, the winning time. The losing time was even quicker at a 7.58 seconds. This is a graphic example of how a good driving job, taking advantage of every opportunity, can outrun a better running car. Nick Nicholas in the near lane got a 1/10 of a second advantage off the starting line. He held on for the win over Jerry Ekman. Nicholas heads to the semifinals. Our next pair of cars, the classic Chevrolet versus Ford matchup. The Camaro, driven by Darrell Alderman, will be racing against the world champion Bob Glidden at the wheel of his Ford Thunderbird. Alderman, driving the Wayne County Speed Shop car, defeated Reed Wisnett in the first round of racing. While, as we saw at the top of the show, Bob Glidden, driving the Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird, defeated Butch Leal. Glidden in the far lane, Alderman in the near lane. Both cars powered by 500 cubic inch engines. Minimum weight for both cars, 2,350 pounds, including the driver. A good start, a slight advantage going to Alderman. But the Ford's got some horsepower. And it pays off at the finish. Glidden, quickest elapsed time of eliminations, 7.47 seconds at over 185. That sets up our semifinal pairing of Bob Glidden against Warren Johnson. Glidden, by virtue of that elapsed time, having the lane choice. The other pair, Nick Nicholas, will be going against Bruce Allen, and Allen has the lane choice in that race. That brings us to funny car. On the starting line, the world champion, Kenny Bernstein. In the first round of racing, Bernstein, driving the Budweiser King, defeated the Australian Graham Cowan, while his competition at the wheel of the Miller American Special, Ed McCulloch, defeated the defending champ, Tom McEwen. Using a drivetrain similar to those in the top fuel dragsters, the funny cars of modern-day championship drag racing have over 2,500 horsepower on tap under the fiberglass replica bodies of late model automobiles. An Oldsmobile Forenza in the near lane, a Buick LeSabre in the far lane. These tubular chassis cars weigh about 1,900 pounds each and are capable of speeds over 270 miles an hour in the quarter. McCulloch smokes the tires. Bernstein's away. And Bernstein with an easy victory. His elapsed time, 5.57 seconds. His speed over 265 miles an hour. That advances him to the semifinals. In the top fuel pit area, there's one driver that believes in personal attention. Dick LaHaye, under the direction of his daughter Kim, who serves as crew chief on this race car, is checking out his engine.